Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word. We're going through the blessings of Hurricane Ian. There's 13 blessings that I came up with. And you might have other blessings too that I don't list out. But I wanted to focus on the blessings of the Hurricane Ian. You can find a lot of stuff wrong with having Hurricane Ian come through here. But these are some blessings that happened. The first one we had talked about was community interaction. Then the second one was kindness abounds. And then the third thing was seeing the power of God in the storm. And then yesterday we talked about wow for the weather after the storm, which was just amazing, kind of blew me away. The fifth thing is this, and we're talking about this today. It's a chance to reevaluate our possessions. That's right, a chance to reevaluate our possessions. Let me get a drink here. So I'm going to give you like 4 examples here of issues of possessions, okay? A lot of times we think we have to have all this stuff, all right? And when the hurricane comes through, after the hurricane comes through, all that stuff you have to deal with, okay? If your house got destroyed, you have a lot of stuff in that house that you have to either decide, am I going to save this and try and dry it out or whatever, or is it going right to the dumpster, okay? So let me give you an example of one place. There was one place that we were doing work at, and we got to that house, and they had filled up 4 dumpster full of stuff that the people had to have before. The people that were putting the stuff in the dumpster were not the same people that had collected all this stuff beforehand. But there was 4 dumpsterfuls of stuff that was in this house that was now ruined and it was trash. No one really wanted it, okay? But can you imagine 4 dumpsterfuls of stuff and it was stuff that was like, oh, I gotta have this thing. I gotta have the latest, whatever, gadget and cooking utensil and bedding and all this stuff. This is the stuff I have to have. And you get down years down the road and it's worthless. No one really wants it, and it's just trash. And so that place had 4 dumpsterfuls full of stuff, just to get rid of, that person had to have at that time, The second place that we went to, another place that we went to, and this is the second place here, was a place that we went to, and I had dried out the house, the main house, but then I had to walk past this garage, and nothing was done with the garage. We weren't in charge of the garage. We were just drying out the house. But as I walked past the house, I'm like, something smells. Oh, what is that smell? Well, it wasn't the house because I got that all dried out. Everything was fine. We had taken everything out that was a problem. But what the problem was the stuff that was in this garage. The garage had gotten flooded, and now the stuff was sitting there, and now the stuff was all wet and it was stinking, okay? So the whole thing was these things that I had to have are now stinking up my whole property and it's like, oh, so great, but in the end, it stinks. Okay, so just kind of a funny thing. The third place that we were at, and the tow company had come the day before to pick up a couple cars from the neighbors, and the neighbor had some cars in the garage, and the car only had less than 10,000 miles on it, and was less than 3 years old, and they came in the winter and drove it around for a little bit, and that's it. And it didn't do very much driving at all. So a pretty new car. And they came, apparently the tow company came and picked it up after the insurance evaluated it and said, oh, the car is totaled, okay? And because these newer cars have airbag controls and stuff under the seats, the water came up enough, it came up high enough where it did damage to the floor of the car, and that's where all these controls are and stuff. So what happened was that car was totaled. Amazing. All this stuff And it was like the latest car. I had to have this. Had the best technology and stuff like that. Some water comes along and gets up high enough to totally destroy the car. Okay, and so the car is totaled. They're hauling it away, and it'll go to an auction lot that will be, scrapped out for junk or whatever. Okay, all these possessions that I had to have and were the latest and greatest things are all junk. Okay. The last place is how do you respond to the loss of your possessions? Okay. There was a family that we had become aware of, and the guy had built a house along the river, and when that river flooded, he had spent a lot of time working on this house and building and putting all the floors in and all this stuff, worked on it by himself. They're building this house. When the flood came along, it destroyed the house. Okay, so they had to gut the house and so forth. That guy, after that happened to him, he went into such a great depression that he never has really recovered from that. And that controlled his life. So the possession of his house, okay, controlled his life, where he has not recovered from that loss of that possession. Okay, so you have to evaluate: are your possessions are controlling you, or are you controlling the possessions? And are you living for your possessions, or are you living for God? Okay, are these possessions just a tool for me to live life here and enjoy my time with God, or is it something that have become gods to me? Okay, so it's something. This hurricane, when it came through, and for the months after, it's given us a chance to reevaluate our possessions. Is this thing that I thought I had to have and is the greatest thing? Is it really so great? And did I really need it? And do I need to buy another one like that? Probably not. Okay, so anyway, that's the fifth benefit of the Hurricane Ian. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue looking at the blessings of Hurricane Ian. Lord's blessing. I'll see you tomorrow.